Welcome to the channel, traders. Today I want to talk to you guys about how to implement the wash reclaim pattern on a rigged stock like CLRO was yesterday. Yesterday CLRO came out with some news. The company has a 2.6 million float. This small cap stock, they dropped news right here. It looks like they dropped the news around 8:20 in the morning. And the press release says CLRO announces entry into a merger agreement. They got a little asterisk by there. And here they have another press release. CLRO to acquire Vivani Medical subsidiary for 2.5 million shares. Nevertheless, the company drops a press release, and at 8:30, 8:20, the momentum hits, and it initially spikes up from 366 to 462, and then drops all the way back down to 345. And then on the next candle, it skyrockets from 355 up to 447, pulls back to 390, and then rips up to 545. It just consolidates here for a little while and then sells off all the way back down to its to where it started. So, you know, if you bought this candle, you're instantly in the red. And I guess you could have got in on these candles here, and you know, took your profits. You could have got in at 4 here and then cashed out at 5 using the whole dollar. And it looks like a lot of people tried to sell around 5, and then it sold back off. So considering how volatile that these stocks are, you have to be extremely careful when you trade them, especially if you're using large size, like thousands of shares, because every penny is like $100. So you don't want to go deep in the red. So what I do is I wait for the wash reclaim pattern to show up. And I'm going to show you how to implement the wash reclaim pattern so you can trade stocks like this more effectively and safer with clear risk reward patterns. So as the morning continues, personally, I wasn't watching the stock, and I didn't know that the stock was being rigged. And personally, I don't trade a lot of small caps anymore because I've found it easier to make money swinging large caps. So that's where I've been making a majority of my money, is swinging large caps like USAR and FCEL and stocks like UMAC and stocks like ERO and CRML and GRR Um, I'm usually swinging large caps that are under 50 bucks, and it's a lot easier for me to get whole dollar moves on them. Like yesterday, um, I took a trade on UMAC. Right here. You can see that I bought 25 shares at 23.76, and then I sold the 25 shares at 24.76. So it's a lot easier for me to get a whole dollar move trading stocks like this. Um, After I got that dollar move on there, it sold off. I went ahead and added back and added a little bit more here. So now I got my average price at 22.54. So I'm down a little bit, but UMAC is in a strong sector. The company has got excellent fundamentals, and the drone sector is extremely hot. So I have no question that I'll be able to get my dollar move on this one probably sometime next week. You can see I got my sell order in. Nevertheless, I wanted to talk about CLRO because CLRO is a small cap, and they're a completely different tiger when it comes to trying to trade them. So I didn't have my eyes on this one until after the open, but we're just going to look at the candles here and see if we can look for a trade. Now I did take, I think I took 3 or 4 trades on this yesterday. One of them was red, but I made a little money on it. Again, I took very light size on it because small caps are risky, and I didn't have a lot of behind the scenes information on it. I just knew that it was rigged, and I just took lighter size. I already made some money for the day and didn't want to give it all back trying to trade a small cap. Nevertheless, let's go through the chart here and I'll show you how to trade this. So we get the sell off, and after the initial run up here in pre-market, and basically what I look for again is the wash reclaim pattern. So pre-market, it just consolidates in a downtrend, and then we get another spike up here. Now again, I'm watching the candles and I'm looking for a specific pattern. So, I don't see nothing here yet. And then here's the opening bell. And right after the opening bell, it goes into a halt. It looks like it goes into, so there's a 5-minute halt. It halts up. Then it halts down for 10 minutes. So, and then it opens right here at 9:47, 17 minutes after the open, comes down and then rips back up into a halt for another 5 minutes, opens at 9:52, and it's just puts in a top and tail doji, and then it kind of sells off here for a little bit, comes back up, and now it's past 10 o'clock and it's just cooking here for a little while, nothing going on. And then right here there's 36,000 shares go through, and we get this spike up, and then it just consolidates here for a little bit. Now if you was studying it and watching it, I suppose that you could have maybe bought the first candle to make a new high here. Like you could have bought on this spike green candle here, or let's just say you bought at 378. You had already been down, 10 cents a share here. But eventually you got to resolve on it. I'm not sure where you would have took profits. Maybe you try to cash out over 4. That would have been, it looks like some people cashed out over 4. Maybe the primary target was a crack over the top of this red one, or perhaps if you were aiming for this high right here, we didn't quite make it. You can see it kind of just comes up to the top of this one, so maybe some short sellers got in there too. Or if you bought here and you were just holding for the pre-market high break, I think you're going to be holding for a little bit longer. So let me just go ahead and put that line up there. There's the pre-market high, and then there's that second high right there. And then again, if you're looking at this high where it opened and then just held it down, and you took your entry on this candle here, you could have scored a little profit if you cashed in there. Or if you decided to hold and were just looking for to ride, if you're just trying to ride the 6 EMA up, you could have rode that for a while, all the way up, and got a nice winner. And there's multiple ways that you can trade it. It's not the way that I trade it though. We'll get to that here in a little bit. Nevertheless, you got to have some price targets. So maybe you cashed in over 426, or maybe you're saving. Maybe you sold some here and sold a little bit more there, and now you're saving some more for the big dog up here at 544. So anyway, I didn't take any trades on it through here, and I'm still looking for a pattern, and I don't see one yet. So anyway, it comes up here to 471, and then we get another pullback on the 1 minute chart here, and then it curls back up, comes back down over VWAP. So yeah, so after we, people might not even have traded this because it was below VWAP. Maybe you bought for the break of VWAP, now we're instantly back under VWAP. So I mean, what are you going to make, 10 or 20 cents here if you're lucky? And now we're back under VWAP, and there's not a lot of traders that trade under VWAP. And that's why I have the 6 and the 20 EMA on here, because if there's no usable patterns, you might be able just to ride an EMA. So if you're riding the 6 EMA, right here, it broke the 6 EMA pretty good right here. You would have cashed out. Or if it broke the 20, you would have cashed out here. Or if it broke the VWAP, you would have stopped out there too. Whether or not you had any profits or not, I'm not too sure. So anyway, then it curls back up through VWAP. Maybe you got in again over VWAP, or maybe you bought here when it cracked over the 6 EMA. Maybe you were able to squeeze out a couple more pennies. I don't know. But I didn't trade any of that. Then we're back under VWAP, and now we're testing the 20 EMA, and it looks like one of the highs, the second pre-market high, right there, is kind of like now is acting as support. So if you were ballsy, you could have got in here and use that as a stop. Or you could have just got in back over VWAP, but then you see right here we cracked VWAP again, so that would have put you on the edge of your seat right there. So the stock moves on up, moves on up. Moves on up. Comes all the way up here to 528. Pulls back. Cuts the 6 and cuts through the 20 again. Shoots back up here, and then finally, is that the pre-market high? Okay, so right there, it finally cracks the pre-market high right there. So you could have held through that roller coaster and then had your sell order in at the very top of the pre-market high. You could have had a sell order in there at 544, and then just went ahead and took your profit there at the pre-market high. But in some strategies, the people are actually buying at the pre-market high. So there's people that actually bought here for the break of the pre-market high. Maybe you should have waited for it to close with a fresh candle over there, because immediately it just rockets all the way down. So if you bought at the pre-market high, you would have took a massive loss on that one. Nevertheless, it appears like either some short sellers were ready to go, or people that were long, they had some sell orders in there because the price drops all the way down here. Now, like I said, the stock is rigged, so it could be you selling, it could be a short seller selling, or it could just be the guy that's controlling the stock, the rigger. He could have been selling. Nevertheless, stock drops all the way down, almost goes into a halt down. And then it starts to work its way back up again, sells off, and then it works its way back up over the 20, back up over the 6, and then right here it rockets up through the pre-market high. So, people that tried here, now they're ready to go. They just took a loss on this one, now they're ready to go. And some shorts that shorted here, now they're covering. Or some shorts that shorted down here, like right here, they thought, okay, we didn't crack the pre-market high, it's done, it's going to roll over, I'm just going to go ahead and short it on this pop. Now they're cooked. So you got long traders buying here, you got shorts that are covering, and we get the spike up. It goes into a halt for another 5 minutes. And then here is, after it opens, it's just got a micro shelf kicking here, just trading in between this range. And finally, I see a candle and a pattern that looks good. Now again, I don't think I was watching the stock at this moment, because you can see I didn't take any trades here. But right here is where I would have took a trade, primarily on this pattern right here. So what I do is I look for a big wash candle, and that would be this candle right here. So then I have a special tool that I implement that will mark the high of that candle, the low of that candle, and the midpoint of that candle. So what I want to see is I want to see the midpoint breached within 5 candles. So we get 1, 2, 3. On the 4th candle, we breach the midpoint of that wash candle. So that would be your entry at 575. Now, there's 2 types of entries. You can either enter at 575, or you can wait for the small pullback. Now you can see here it dipped down. So here would have been your second opportunity to either add to, if you added here, you could add a little bit more, or you just wait and you just add here. But sometimes you don't get the dip and it just goes. So you have to make a decision. Are you going to add at 575 and risk 550, or are you going to add at 575, add a little bit more if it dips, still risk in the 550? Or are you going to add at 575 and just cut it if it can't hold 575? So you want to size accordingly so that if you pull your stop at 550, you're not losing a ton of money. And if you want to give yourself an opportunity to double down or add to your position on the small dip, you want to size accordingly. So once you enter here at the midway point, your primary target is 6, the top of the flush candle. So you're entering at 575 and your primary target is 6. So that's 25 cents. Now, 25 cents isn't a lot. I know that. The wash candle is from 6 to 550. So it's only a 50-cent wash. So the range on it isn't excessive. The primary extraction zone is only 25 cents. Now, if you have a really strong bullish thesis on the stock, again, your primary target is 6. So if you bought 50 shares here at 575, you could sell half at 6, or you could sell 80% or 90% of your position at 6 and then save some for the 200% level, which is up here at 650. So now if you think about it, you take your entry at 575 and you're going to cash out at 650. That's almost a whole dollar move. You know, that's a 75-cent move. So again, when I put this tool that I use, if you watch, it will place the 200% marker up there. So it will put your secondary target up there. So you buy 50 shares here, or 10 or 20 or whatever, and you can either sell it all at the primary target, or you can sell a portion of it and save some for the secondary target, which is 200%. So I didn't take that trade. I didn't see the pattern. I wasn't following the stock. Nevertheless, that's the pattern that I'm looking for. So the wash reclaim occurs, and either the same person that's controlling the stock or a second individual has decided to buy the dip and push size. And they're pushing the size primary target right here, you can see that a lot of people decided to go ahead and cash out at 6 on the full reclaim. And then it pushes all the way to the secondary target, 650. And again, people take profit. Now, short sellers could have been short in here thinking that primary target was just going to be it. You want to keep in mind that the secondary target is only 50-50. The primary target is the high probability edge, where the secondary target is the 50% chance. So you want to take a majority of your profits at 6 and just save a little bit for 650, because there's only a 50% chance that 650 is going to print. Nevertheless, this prints it. Shorts are covering, long traders are cashing out at the 650 level, and the stock continues to rock and roll. So I'm going to remove those lines for now. Now you can see there was another wash reclaim right here. It was a real quick one. You could have got in at the 50% level and cashed out again. You could have got in at 640 and cashed out at 664. I didn't take that trade. Even though it looks like a fairly good pattern, I'm sure there are plenty of people that took that trade. Now, we had that wash reclaim that cashed out the 650 level. And then we had this other wash reclaim right here, which cashed out people that traded this one. And then the stock dives down right into another wash reclaim right here. So again, I implement the tool. I'm looking for a 50% reclaim within 5 candles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. On the 5th candle, it reclaims half. So your entry there would have been 598, primary target 617, secondary target 656. So you could have traded this one from 598 and had your final cash out at 656. That's a good, 50, 60 cent winner right there. And again, I don't think I was monitoring the stock, and I didn't take that trade there either. By this time, it's 12 o'clock noon, and I'm probably focusing on some other things at the moment. So we cash out that 656 position, and then right here is where I finally started paying attention to this stock. Right here it went into an up halt for another 5 minutes, and this is the candle. This is my favorite candle. This one right here. This is a bottom and tail doji, a red one, where you can see that some people soaked up the bottom, and I like to have a little bit of selling on the top with a longer tail on the bottom. So this is when I finally started watching the stock, and I seen this wash reclaim pattern right here. So what I did was I put my tool in there, and you can see here that it breached the 50% on the very next candle. Now I do not like that at all, because if it breaches the 50% level on the very next candle, that means that it either needs to go right away or it's not going to go at all. So when I seen that, let's see, the high of that candle was 640. So the high was right at 649. So when I seen that, I was a little bit leery, and I was like, okay, this might be a fake out, because the one drawback to this pattern is that the controller and the rigger of the stock, they are aware of the pattern and they will make a fake one to trap you. So again, you need to mind your stops, because the riggers are aware of the pattern and they will make a fake one to trap you. Nevertheless, I decided to jump in with 10 shares. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I just disregarded the fact that it breached the 50% on the very next candle. It wasn't by a lot. Matter of fact, it was right at 649. So when we got this breach of the 50% level at 649, I went ahead and I don't think I slapped the ask. I think I just did a market buy of 10 shares. I got in at 645.50. Now, primary target was 677. However, since I only bought 10 shares, I didn't want to cash out at 677 just for, you know, a $2-3 winner. I would go ahead and hold it to see if the 200% level can print. So again, I'll go ahead and I'll put that, I'll use my tool again on this candle. I put my tool in there, and that marked the 200% level at 733. So I wanted to sell as close to that level as I could. And you can see here, we cashed out the primary target, 677. We pull back, and then it rips up here. And instead of me putting an order in at 7, I think I had an order in at 733. But when it didn't make it, I just went ahead and took it off the table at 718. So I went ahead and sold right there. So that was the wash reclaim pattern that I traded. Now, again, secondary target is 733. So I'm just going to go ahead and use this one in here now, because when it didn't breach 733, some short sellers decided, okay, maybe now is a good time to go ahead and start shorting it. And they shorted it, and they shorted it. And it drops back down here to the 50% level on our reclaimer. And I notice that it gets soaked up, and we immediately crack back over 677. Now, when we cracked back over 677, that told me that 733 is back on the menu. Now, we didn't cash it out over here, and I'm not necessarily trading a wash reclaim pattern. I'm just going by where long traders are trading and where short sellers are positioned. So when the shorts shorted here on the assumption that we wasn't going to cash out 733, and the shorts decided to short it, and they shorted it under 677, and then they shorted it under 649. When we came back here up over 677, I knew that the shorts was trapped. So that instantly put 733 back on the menu. So I went ahead and I bought some more at 703, 20 shares. And I just went ahead and put my sole order in right at 733. And I did have a nice trade on that one. I got my sell order in at 733. And you know, shorts are covering micro shelf. Um, Long traders are cashing out. And then here is when the shorts really get bushwhacked. Now that the shorts are underwater, whoever's controlling this stock, they take it on a roller coaster ride all the way to 962 and get as many short sellers to cover as they possibly can. So short sellers are absolutely freaking out at this point, and they're covering all the way up here. And when the last short seller covers, the rigger dumps it. Dumps it, little micro shelf, dumps it all the way down. Looks like it goes into a halt down right here at that key level we was talking about. 733. Halts down for 5 minutes. Then after the resumption, we finally break down and go back under 733. So now, you know, maybe the shorts are like, okay, you know, this thing's finally done here. Now I can finally short this mug. The shorts have already been cleared out. All the long traders have cashed out. So you can see it tries to break over 733 again. Nothing. Some shorts are coming in. Right here we get a little wash reclaim. You know, maybe some long traders took this quick trade here if you're quick. Like I said, when it reclaims on the very next one, that's not a real, it either needs to go right away or it don't go at all, so I just avoid those. I want it to reclaim on the second, third, fourth, or fifth candle. The third or fourth candle or the fifth is ideal. But here's a little wash reclaimer. I didn't trade that one. Come back up to 733 here. And again, it doesn't hold that level. Some more short sellers come in. And then it finally breaks down. And we go through the primary level, 677. And we crack through the midpoint, 649, and then ground zero, 620, we crack that. Matter of fact, we even crack through VWAP. So, you know, some VWAP traders probably loaded up here. I'm sure some short sellers probably looking for a dollar move. You know, maybe some short sellers, if they short sellers were ballsy enough to short at 733, you know, maybe they took some profits at 633. I'm not exactly sure there. But it tries to hold ground zero at 620. You can see we come back up to the 50% level, and you know, maybe there's some sellers there. Some shorts are coming in. We come back down to VWAP, go back under 620. So, you know, this is just kind of cleaning out traders. Traders that are trying to trade these levels, they're just getting bushwhacked with no clear direction going on here. Now, right here is where things get interesting, because by this time, you know, we already went under VWAP. We can't hold the midpoint on the reclaimer. We broke back underneath 620, almost hit VWAP. The short sellers are loaded up, and if any of them are holding for more than a dollar move, if they're short here at 733, they added to their position here at you know, 660, and they're looking for some deep dive on the VWAP. They're not going to get it, because right here we get a retest of ground zero at 620, and it instantly gets bought up, and on the next candle it rips ass through the midpoint. And when I saw that candle, I knew that the shorts were trapped again. And on the next candle we get a crack again of the primary target, and this thing rockets all the way back up to almost the 733 level. So any short sellers down here, or any short sellers that were here that added to their position, they're living again on their edge of their seats here, because if it cracks over 733 again, you've seen what happened last time. It ran almost to $10, but it didn't. It holds steady. So, you know, I'm not sure. So I'm sure some covered. I'm sure maybe some real ballsy shorts went ahead and doubled down on their position while the gain's good, and then it rolls back over through the primary. It does hold the 50% level for a while, goes back up. It looks like it's going to make another shot for 733, and then finally it flushes the 50% level again and comes down and tests 620 again, and it holds it, rockets right back up over the primary target, and then this is when it flushes out 620 again. So again, the rigger, the controller, he's stopping out longs, he's stopping out shorts, he's stopping out whoever he can stop out. So it closes right at the midpoint. 649. It closes right at the midpoint of our wash reclaim range. Comes up here, breaches back over primary target again. Maybe some short sellers are adding to their positions here. I'm not sure exactly what a majority of the shorts average price is, but it sells off, breaches 620, breaches VWAP, and then out of nowhere at 4:28 p.m., almost a half hour after market closes, the rigger just says F you to the short sellers and sends this thing all the way up to secondary target again, 733. In one candle, it goes from 640 all the way to 733. So all the shorts that had their covers, any long traders that were riding that roller coaster that had their sell orders in, they all got cashed out there at 733. Now, I noticed that we didn't breach 733 but by 1 penny. So I knew that the market maker didn't take everyone's order. So when I seen that, I took the opportunity here to get in for a trip back over 733, because not only is the rigger going to want to cash out all the orders associated with this level, he's going to want to get shorts to cover over this level. So I knew we were going higher. So I went ahead and slapped the ask at 706, and I just set a solid primary target of $8. I figure the rigger is going to take it over $8 to get anyone that was risking 733 to cover. So I bought there, and sure enough, I got my order filled here at 8. I just had a sell order in there at 8. And once again, the rigger has smoked the shorts again. Now all the shorts are covering and more long traders are cashing out. Now here was the red trade that I had. This was my final red trade on it. Right here I thought maybe that we'd get a push to HOD, which if you scroll back over here, HOD now is at 962, but I would have been happy to take profits at this level at 863 right here. So when we cracked back over here, the 733 level, this was a pretty significant candle. It just instantly shot up like it was an ignition candle, like, okay, real fast, here we go, it's game on. When I seen that, I just went ahead and slapped it at 750 because I thought we were going to go, but no, we didn't go. It was a trap. And you can see the market maker just let some more shorts cover and let some more long traders get in, and then I finally decided to stop out when we were struggling to hold that 733 level. Nevertheless, after I sold, it comes back up here, back over the level, not too high, 755, and then right here. Now, mind you, the entire stock market is getting ready to close. We get another spike back up to 840, coming close to that second from the high a day. So if I would have, I only had 20 shares, but like I said, this thing could flush. You never know. It could just flush $3 and you instantly give back everything you earn. So I did the right thing by selling there. Could I have bought back in here or here? Yeah, but once you get screwed over, you start to become a little reluctant to take any more trades on it. But anyway, we get the spike up here, it comes down, stops out long traders again that were risking 733. And mind you, there's only a half hour left of the market, so it brings it all the way back down here just to get out as many long traders as possible. And then here is the final candle closing right at 8 p.m. It's this dog right here, way over 733. So this thing is closed super strong. In my opinion, this thing has closed super strong. Look at this candle. Now, I don't know how many short sellers are still holding their positions. There was a guy on Twitter saying that he sold half his position for a $90,000 loss. Is he still holding the other half? I don't know. But the fact that we closed with this candle like this over the 200% level on the reclaimer tells me that come 4 o'clock Monday, this thing is going to clear out HOD at 962. Does it happen at 4? Does it happen at 7? I don't know, but this thing closed super strong. And without question, come Monday morning, this thing is going to screw over as many short sellers as it can, either by clearing out 863 or clearing out 962. Nevertheless, if you guys are up and you're trading pre-market, 733 is the key level. Are we going to get a dip back down to 677, the primary target? I don't know. If you decide to take a trade on it, try to get in as close as possible to one of these levels, and look for the wash reclaim pattern I was talking about. And potential price targets are over 863 and over 962. Maybe you can put a sell order in right at 10. But look for a wash reclaim pattern. If this thing comes up here and puts in a wash reclaim pattern and has the 200% level, like, let me give you an example here. Let's say this thing comes up tomorrow and it puts in a wash reclaim pattern right here. And you see that the 200% level is over 962. When you see the wash candle that has a target that is above the high a day, that is a good indication that we are going to breach high a day. Now, if you've seen that same wash candle and the 200% level was below, well, that's not as bullish, right? You want to see a wash that has the secondary target above a key level, and that is your indicator that, okay, we're going to clear out HOD. We're going to clear it out, and we're going to either cash out the secondary or get as close to it as possible. So keep that in mind. Again, tomorrow we could see a wash candle that puts the secondary over the second high, and that will get us over the first hurdle, and then there could be another wash reclaim that puts us up over here. So keep those patterns in mind and use them to keep your risks small and your gains large. So all eyes will be on this one Monday. I'm so curious to see if we crack 10. I'm so curious to see if they're going to do an offering between 8 and 8:30. Not sure exactly what they're trying to do with this one. And I'll also be curious to see if any more wash reclaim patterns show up. So thanks for tuning in. Again, that's how you trade the wash reclaim pattern. And everything that went on with the stock was all based on this candle right here. This wash candle right here set the whole thing into motion. Long traders risked off of it. Short sellers shorted against the 200% level. They shorted against the 100% level. They shorted against the 50% level. Long traders were going long using these as key levels with secondary targets at 733. Everything that went on with this stock after this candle was all based on the range of that candle. So keep that in mind when you're trading, and hopefully it'll keep your losses smaller when you're trading these high volatility small caps, because even with the wash reclaim pattern, it's just one tool of multiple tools in your tool belt you can use to trade these. And the more tools they have, the more opportunities there are for you. Thanks for tuning in. See you guys next video. Cheers.